Hi, I'm Pavel, and I'm one of the authors or creators of Trezor, the Bitcoin Safe. And I hope you will learn something new about our efforts. So first, let me introduce the team. This is me and Marek, but unfortunately, you can see it's rather dark photo. It's a photo taken in Bromlab Hackerspace, which is located in Prague. So maybe that's better. The first author is Marek Palatinus, better known as Slush, who is basically inventor of shared-based mining pools concept. He came with the idea, and then the first implementation of the idea, which is basically used in other pools as well. He's still operator of this first mining pool, which is located on mining.bitcoin.cz, also known as Slush pool. At the moment, it's fourth largest with somewhere between 10 and 50% of power or hash rate. And he also designed a lightweight protocol Stratum, which is nowadays used by pools, miners, and clients. The old protocol was not good enough for mining, especially when new devices like FPGAs and Minix came, ASICs came. Then it created a huge load on the server, so he created a new protocol that's much more efficient. And I'm the second author. I'm Pavel, and I was one of the founders of the Bernlab Hackerspace, like I said. I'm open source enthusiast, which will have some effects later. I'm a software, and recently I became a hardware developer a few years ago. And I did some various smaller Bitcoin-related projects, like for example coinmap.org, which is basically a feed taken from OpenStreetMap, where venues have a special Bitcoin tag, and it will show the map of such venues which have this tag enabled. And the second project is just a work name, Edergen, like address generator, which basically you take your Electrum master public key and it will generate a series of addresses. And it's supporting PHP, Python, and Ruby. So it's if you have applications written in that languages, you can use it on your server, which is quite a convenient and safe way because you store just the public information on your server. So even if you are hacked, then still you are in possession of your Bitcoins. So why such thing like Trezor? Because people lose money. Like there were lots of evidence in the past I think the first Bitcoin theft was around 50,000 US dollars stolen, and even back then the Bitcoin wasn't at $100 per one piece. So when if we used today's exchange rate, that would be even higher. And these are just some news titles from Reddit and other websites. So the problem why people lose money is mainly security of end user computer because because these computers are or can become compromised if you have malware that basically steals your wallet file and you are effectively without your bitcoins. Then another problem is untrusted computers. If the computer you want to use is not in your possession, you just go to some internet cafe and you can't trust this device at all. And also the problem, which is not prominent now, but maybe later, is fake client. So it's basically application that behaves exactly like the real client, but does something completely different, and you have no way of knowing that something wrong is happening. And another problem is you can lose your wallet even if you are not exposed to the threats on the previous slides. For example, hard drive failures. You know, it's hard drive, it's electronics, they tend to break when you don't expect it, so you can lose bitcoins. Other problem is naive system reinstalls. You know, system is broken, you just decide to reinstall it. Oh, forgot to back up my wallet. I'm screwed. And also unexpected disasters, nature, like thunderstorms, floods, or fire, you will lose bitcoins as well. And of course, failing to do proper backups. Even if you do backups while system reinstall, you probably just do backup on another hard drive, which is at the same location, or even worse, in the same computer. So proper backup is something that not a lot of people are doing correctly. So we think that hardware wallets are the way, and yeah, see you agree. So that's why we came with Trezor. Maybe you are wondering why the name. We were trying to come up with some fancy name, and the problem with most of the Bitcoin-related projects is they either start with bit or coin or end with something similar. So we were like, maybe we should come up with some name that's quite unique. And we had a discussion with one of our friends, and he said, "Why not Trezor?" And we were like, "Well, it's a Slavic word which means safe or vault, but in other languages, except probably German and Russian, it doesn't have any meaning. So maybe it would be nice." And also, they thought that a lot of English-speaking people will think that Trezor is something like treasure, so something you like and you possess. The problem is most of the American people, when they see Trezor, they think of Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, but it's also not bad. So the idea behind Trezor is to create a dedicated single-purpose mini computer which allows secure transaction on an untrusted computer, like I mentioned in the previous slides. So even if I came to internet cafe, I don't have to trust the computer at all because all of the security measures are in this small device, which is basically disconnected from the internet and cannot be hacked because the protocol which it is using to communicate with the computer doesn't allow to do such stuff. Maybe I will have that in the slides later. So. And of course, if you have such software, it needs a cooperating Bitcoin client. So we are not yet there, but I will talk about this later. So the solution is to separate the private keys from the client, so they are not present on these untrusted computers. The client prepares transaction, which is then sent to Trezor using this protocol. It's signed there, and the private keys never leave the Trezor. So the only thing that is returned back is the signed transaction. So basically, if you are not a power user, you don't even have to know there are some private keys. It's your Trezor that does the work. So we don't have to even think about private keys or backing them up. And also, we try to use minimalistic design because we learned from the previous attempts. There were like maybe 5 or 10 attempts to create some super special universal Bitcoin wallet with wireless connection and RGB display and camera to scan QR codes. But basically what these teams were doing, they created a very cheap copy of phone, but they never even got to the point where they should try to solve the security problem. They were just imitating this phone. And this was so exhaustive that they never got to the real thing. So we also don't have battery because we use power from USB. And we don't need internet access because we are just stupid transaction signer device. The computer provides internet access. And also we don't have keypad. We just have yes and no buttons. I will show the workflow later how it works. But we have display where you basically see the transaction and you can verify it. So that's basically a measure against these fake clients which can spoof the transaction. And if you have, for example, a smart card that's signing a Bitcoin transaction, you are safe in a way that it's probably not signing transaction that shouldn't be signed. but you don't know which transaction are sent into the device. So if you have the spoofed client, then it can send different transactions that are actually on display. So basically, in a nutshell, we have an embedded device. That's the design in a durable case and running a dedicated software. Well, it's too bad you can't see the photos, but the slides are going to be online. So let's dig into technical details about hardware. We are using ARM Cortex-M3 microcontroller. It's from ST Microelectronics, which is a company very well known for their very strong series of ARM microcontrollers. It has 120 megahertz, which is much faster than, for example, Arduino, but it's slower than BeagleBoard or Raspberry Pi. So it's somewhere in between these two well-known options. It has a half megabyte of flash, which you probably think it's not too much, but for embedded programming, it's quite enough. And 120 kilobytes of RAM, which is also quite enough when compared to Arduino. And also it has a hardware random generator, so we use that uh, for for generating seeds. But not just this hardware generator, but we use it as one of the entropy sources. And also it has OLED display, which is that model number, which is basically around 1 inch with 128 times 64 pixels. These are monochromatic, which is enough, but I heard recently that China vendors are working on the same display with the same technical parameters, but it's colorful. It has true color. And of course, it has two tactile buttons for saying yes and no. Well, the firmware, it's written in C, it's open source, and also we don't use any proprietary toolchains. We use just the normal GCC ARM port and libOpenC M3, which is an open effort to support these Cortex-M processors. That's also good because, for example, commercial versions of toolchains like Kyle, they usually don't support USB in these lower versions. So if you want to use Kyle with full USB support, you have to order the most expensive option, which is quite a lot of money per developer. When it comes to communication, we use protocol buffers, which is an effort from Google to serialize binary data. And we use USB HID or human interface device as a physical layer. That has one advantage, that basically you don't need any drivers in Windows, Linux, or macOS, or possibly any other operating system, because these operating systems already support this physical layer because of mouse or keyboards or joysticks. Also, the design is pretty simple, so we don't use any OS like FreeRTOS or or similar. It's just our custom software. So we basically don't use any concurrency or threads, which is quite easy to audit, and you don't have race conditions and so on. At least not because of the threads. And now I will show how some workflows are performed. So when you first run Trezor, it will show a logo, and then it will start to generate seed. This seed is I'm not sure if you are aware of Electrum client and how it works, but basically it generates some entropy. In Electrum it's 128 bits. We probably use more. And this entropy is then used to generate an infinite number of private keys and corresponding addresses. So if you want to backup, you just need to keep this seed. And Trezor has the same idea. It will generate a seed, which is stored in this device, and then Trezor can basically can provide infinite number of addresses you can use. So it will generate a seed. Then this seed is transformed into some English words, like, for example, constant, forest, adore, blah, blah, blah. And when you note these words on a piece of paper and put in a real safe, or you just memorize it if you are native speaker or you know English perfectly, and that's basically it. If someone steals your Trezor or it's broken, then you just need these 12 words to basically restore all your Bitcoin addresses and Bitcoin stored in it. And using this sentence, you can either import these addresses to another Trezor or to some other client. Sorry?
Where's the data stored?
You mean the seed?
Yes.
It's stored in flash, on flash memory, inside of Trezor. And these words are being generated by an algorithm which will be standardized as BIP 0039. It's heavily inspired by what Thomas designed for Electrum client, but we will do some changes with regards to word selection because there are some, let me say, problems for non-native speaker users. Like there are words like built in present tense and built in the past tense, and it's even hard to dictate over telephone or something like that. And so that's basically the first workflow you will encounter immediately after you start using Trezor. And the most used workflow is, of course, sending Bitcoins. So when you first start your client, it will say, please connect your Trezor. You will do so. And basically, what happens is that client running on your computer says, please give me your master public key, and Trezor will do so. And now the client knows which addresses are stored in Trezor and knows how many Bitcoins are there. So client now knows there are essentially 12 Bitcoins stored in Trezor. Now I can click send. Let's send 10 Bitcoins to Bob. Let's set fee. And this transaction is created in client and sent to Trezor with some fields empty. And now Trezor will say, please retype these one-time passwords into your client. So it will basically generate some random string. And you have to copy this string to the client. And then you have to enter the PIN again in your client. The thing with the one-time password is to protect you from brute forcing the PIN code, because PIN code is something you set during the initialization, and we use the one-time password to protect you. For example, if you are in some pub and go to the toilet, then some people might try to brute force your password, and this.
Don't you have a keyboard for the pin?
This PIN is entered on your computer.
For example, you have a HPC, have banking reader, you have a smart card, and you have a keypad, and you have a display.
Yes.
And so the pin does never touches the computer because you interact with the smart card of your banking reader.
Yeah, I know. We are aware of this, but we think that when combined with the OTP, then the pin is not, it's not so sensitive. We can discuss about later, and we probably will. So now Trezor is shown the transaction that we are sending 10 Bitcoins to that address, and now I can either cancel the transaction, which aborts the whole process, or confirm the transaction, which will just fill in the missing fields in the transaction template, which are signatures, and this transaction is sent back to the client. which will then propagate it to network. So Trezor is an offline signer which just signs the transaction. And of course, client can now update the balance, and you can either send another transaction or just plug out your wallet. So what about the client support? Well, having a hardware is nice, but we have to teach all these major Bitcoin clients how to use it. And the current state is, yeah, I skipped some slides. So what we are doing in that effort is we created a Raspberry Pi shield, which is a very simple shield with just OLED display and buttons. And when you put this on a Raspberry Pi and run a Trezor software written in Python, the whole thing exactly starts to behave exactly like Trezor. So you have something like Trezor emulator written in Python, but it uses the same workflow. It uses the same USB communication. And this Raspberry Pi shield is now being sent to client developers like Jim Burton and Mike Hearn from Multibit, Alan Reiner from Armory, and well, Marek is working on project, so he already has it, and Thomas from Electrum fame. And these people are, or at least will start very soon on integrating Trezor into mainline version of their clients. So we really hope that once Trezor hits the market, all these clients will learn how to use it. But we need your help. Why? We need to prepare large-scale production, and most expensive part of this is to create a casting mode for plastic cases. And we also need to integrate the software with existing clients. Like I said, we already have agreement with these guys on the previous slides, but there are new clients appearing, and we really need to guide these people how to implement the Trezor support correctly. So how you can support us? You can pre-order one of the Trezors or more on our website, which is bitcointrezor.com. Currently, we offer classic version, which is a plastic one, or metallic version, which is made of aluminum. And these these Trezors are planned to be delivered in either November in a plastic case or October this year in metallic case. And if you have more questions that we will not answer here, you can go to our FAQ on our website, and also we have a special FAQ for developers, which is on a separate address. And I can show you the Raspberry Pi shield we have. Some of probably you were asking if we have a working Trezor. Well, we have, but it's in we have a couple of working exemplars, but they are in various state of testing or crash testing, to be honest. And Raspberry Pi shields looks like this. So I probably haven't seen it good on a projector. So sorry.
Once it's just add a rotary encoder with a button, and then you can enter, for example, your pin by rotating from 0 to 9 and pressing and things like that.
It's too late to do some hardware changes now. Well, you know.
Stupid, because if you want to make it right, then think twice and then do the hardware.
So let me just finish. We have entered the question and answers round, so feel free to prepare a question while we deal with this. So your problem or you think that the pin code is not is
It's
not secured enough.
As a
So
principle, you just have to separate the channels to get a higher level of security. So if you have a pin code entered with a channel that is not detectable via an eavesdropper, then it's more secure than having everything in a malicious environment. So you enter your pin code on a machine where you have a keyboard reader, for example, so the person can sniff your pin code with the keyboard sniffer.
yes, but then you are protected by OTP, which you can.
Okay, but then maybe I can attack a next session and know. So I have one credential. I gain one credentials more, and so this is the point.
Well, if you don't provide the correct OTP, you will never get to the point of entering your PIN code.
Okay, maybe, but it's a breach of security. So you never want to reveal your PIN code to someone.
Client computer needs to be aware of the PIN anyway to communicate with the trezor device, if I understand it correctly.
But you have to use method authentication codes in both directions. So everything is ciphered. All the communication, so you cannot sniff it via USB. So if you would, for example, have a communication via USB that is open, then you can sniff the data on the USB bus. So have a malicious USB driver on your Windows something system, and then it just sniffs all the USB communication.
Yeah, but you still need to confirm by a button as a trezor.
Yeah, the main security of Trezor is that the private keys never leave the device. It's you are
Smart card, yes.
you can sniff the communication and the security will not be lower. So PIN code is just for it not adds security in a way you mean it's meant to be added, but
So normal method is something that you know is a PIN code, something that you have is a token. So you have PIN code plus token. So I could, for example, steal your PIN code at the internet cafe, then I give you a smack in the face and steal your trezor.
but how would you? Okay, we can discuss later. There are probably some other questions. Sorry. So yeah.
I have a question. What's the target market for this? Is it consumers or consumers and businesses?
It's mainly consumer and businesses. If you are not able to secure a computer because either you use Windows or you are not a technical savvy person, then you are probably a target. And of course, it's good to have some bitcoins to have Trezor for it. So it's for non-technical savvy people that want to have bitcoins, basically.
You mentioned that there was a vulnerability that you didn't actually know what it was, the details of the transaction you're signing when you confirm on the device itself, because a compromised client could present a different transaction
Yes.
before signing on the device than what it displayed. So that seems like a very major hole as well, because somebody compromising then would be able to authorize the theft of all of your coins, correct?
If you don't have a display, you have no way of knowing if the transaction you are signing is the one you think you are signing.
Right.
So once you have a display, you can confirm that the transaction that's shown on your desktop is the same that arrived to Trezor and you are signing.
Oh, okay, so it does display a transaction.
It does display. I probably didn't make it clear enough that I was referring to the smart cards without display. So that's the main reason for adding a display. Yes?
Yeah, it's probably a bit deep question, but you mentioned when the device is stolen, you need the receipt.
Yes?
But what happens with the stolen device? Is that erased in some way, or is that something you have to erase? Reload it on another location?
You mean if someone steals your Trezor, then how can he get to the Bitcoin? Get to Bitcoins or?
And if you have a new trezor then, and you want to load your bitcoins on it, what happens to the old?
Well, basically, Bitcoin Trezor or any other Bitcoin wallet is just storage for your private keys. So what you do is you load this seed to some software or hardware wallet and send it to somewhere else. So the old Trezor is now useless because it has the private keys, but they don't have a possession of any bitcoins. So if you didn't send bitcoins to some other location, the attackers still could use old Trezor because he has private key to these bitcoins. But once you send it to another Trezor or to another wallet, then it's useless. Yes.
What about firmware updates? How do you manage this? If you want to update it once, and is there any way to kind of get back the seed if you, for example, forget about writing it down?
I will start with the second question. No, there's no way. Once you have lost the seed, then the bitcoins are, well, no, they are not gone, but you don't have access to them. And that's in order to get to the seed, you will have to open the case, which is quite hard or even impossible because it's designed in a way that it can't be open. Sorry.
You can JTAG everything.
Sorry.
You can open everything. By milling, for example, you can JTAG everything.
With regards to JTAG, there is a mechanism on ARM chips that disallows you from reading via JTAG.
There's a mechanism on FPGAs made by Altera, no, by Actel, and it was set AES proof, and it was also hacked.
Basically, or let me say another thing. There are companies in China where you basically send them locked chip, and in a few weeks they will read the flash. But the thing is, once you don't have Trezor, you probably should move your Bitcoin somewhere else. And you are basically playing against time. And we try to make this effort of getting private keys of the Trezor as hard as possible. So there are ways, and we know we can't achieve 100% security, but at least we can expand this time to weeks. And you are probably smart enough to see that you are missing your Trezor for a couple of weeks. Yeah?
Are you going to implement the payment protocol? Payment request messages?
Yeah.
Trezor actually puts a root certificate on it and
Actually, that's something Marek is investigating right now. I'm not sure if this payment protocol is accepted or it's in a draft state. But if it's accepted, then we will probably want to do it because it's much more convenient for users to see host names instead of Bitcoin addresses. And I remembered you had two questions, so we want to.
Firmware update.
Yeah, the firmware update. What we plan to do right now is to have a special bootloader on a device, which will allow you to update the firmware in a device via USB. What we are struggling, or well, we basically have decided, but some people don't like the idea, is that we will check the signature of the firmware via while uploading it. So basically, you can't put any random firmware downloaded from the internet. The thing is, we will also send or sell the bare PCB hardware, where you can do whatever you want. But the device, as sold right now, like the whole, will have this locked bootloader in order to it's basically security for the end users. If you order Trezor from some third-party vendor, he could have used a different firmware. While if we have this measure, we can say like this device is running our firmware and it hasn't been tampered with.
And if you have a third-party device, you can also load the same firmware.
Sorry?
If you have a third-party device, you can also load the same firmware.
Could you be more specific about third-party device?
So if I have a bootloader that doesn't have this protection, I can also load your firmware.
Yes, of course you can.
So how does the customer decide between an original or fake device? I will also ship the same device that that you ship maybe.
If you ship a fake device with our firmware, I'm perfectly fine with it. I just want to be sure that if the device says it's being made by us, then the firmware is also being
Fake
made.
device can also say this.
Sorry?
The fake device can also say it's made by us.
No.
By you or by God or somebody.
Yes, our devices will have a hologram on it and a serial number, so you can check on website if it's really made by us. I don't know who was first, but you can.
Just if you want to document how it goes to input the pin, you have two bits on the case, so you can perfectly prepare something in software that asks for input pin as in many other digital devices.
Yeah,
These are enough.
we had discussion about this, and there are ways how to enter pin even with one button, but we have to make compromise between.
No rotating button, simple button. You can shift the figure with the left button and move the cursor on the right and if you get the pin, okay, you unlock it.
Mhm.
Of course, the client needs to be aware.
Yeah, there were some questions over there. Yeah.
Why haven't you started a Kickstarter project?
Yes, we at the Bitcoin conference in San Francisco we said there will be a Kickstarter project, but then we basically gave them all materials needed to start a campaign, and then for 2 weeks nothing happened. Like we wrote them two mails every day. We have written them via Kickstarter, Twitter and Facebook, and there was absolutely no reaction. And then after 2 weeks, they were like, "Oh, we really like the project, but you should be more specific about that part and that part." So we expanded that text description, and then they didn't like a different part, and every this exchange of emails were like another 4 days, and we were like getting the feeling that we really should do something because people are expecting that we announced that at the conference, so we decided to cancel the whole Kickstarter thing, and now we are basically having these pre-orders via Bitcoins. Yeah. Yep.
How many pre-orders do you have and how many devices will you build? In the
Uh,
first round?
You can ask the details at info@bitcointrezor.com. I don't have the current numbers, but yeah.
Have you also considered putting a lock on the trezor that you store the key of on the PC, so when the trezor gets stolen, they cannot use it because there's a secret on the PC that
I think that's not necessary. You can just send your bitcoins to somewhere else. Like that's probably the best measure.
you're faster than the person that stole it.
And this log would work how exactly?
Just that the trezor won't work without a lock. The client would have to send it on connect.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. I'm not sure I'm getting the idea. So
No, don't worry.
yes, sorry.
That person was before me, and then I.
Okay. So which person was before you?
He was before me.
I had a question. Will you support mobile devices?
Sorry.
Will you support mobile devices also?
Uh, we currently support mobile devices which have OTG. So if they can behave like USB hosts, there is no reason why we shouldn't support them. But because we have no battery, and we are really not aiming right now at the mobile devices like old phones, then it's not supported if you don't have OTG. Because we think that security is much bigger problem than the mobility of payments. Like you can use software wallets on your Android phone. If you have just few bitcoins there, it's okay. But if you want to securely store more bitcoins, then that's a much bigger problem.
Okay, some people might be living just off a mobile phone and want to store it anyway.
Yeah. If your mobile phone supports USB host, and most of the new Android phones do, then you should be okay. If wallet developers for Android will implement Trezor.
Since you said that the market would also be for businesses, I'm curious about the workflow for exporting the public keys in bulk. But I guess what I really want is the public key for the, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was showing the workflow, in a handshake there will be a master public key exported, so the client knows which addresses are basically stored in Trezor.
Deterministically.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
It's we currently support both Electrum scheme and BIP32, which is much more complex and better. And maybe if BIP42 will have wider adoption by November, then we might completely skip the Electrum scheme.
I want to know if the software is possible to run on other devices that are similar than yours in a partnership. Because I for it's funny because we have a device that is so it's a key chime that has your same OLED screen, your same microcontroller we use for another kind of work, but it's an open platform and we can log here also what you have on the.
I think that would be a good idea. Sorry, the question was, there is another open platform very similar to Trezor, and the question was if we are open for partnership to allow running this software on third-party devices. Yeah, we should definitely talk later.
What's the name of the device?
What's the name of the device? Or
It's Magic Dongle.
Magic Dongle. Okay. Yes, please.
But it's not right now. Can I do as an alternative to get the seed from outside into the Trezor instead of having it generated?
We were also discussing about this, and we don't like the idea that the seed is generated outside of the device, because
At least the idea if I can insert or add entropy from outside in case I do not trust fully your.
yeah. During the initialization phase, there is entropy from computer being sent to Trezor as well, and Trezor is using this entropy and its own entropy together.
Externally verify that the entropy that I entered is actually used in the seed. Not if you just do
I will have to think about it.
two things.
I'm not aware if there are such schemes. Yeah, I will have to investigate into it. But the plan is to use at least two sources of entropy, and one is our own, and the second one is being sent via the initialization phase message.
But you said it can be restored. I can restore the seed from a lost Trezor in a new Trezor, or obviously I can't.
To be honest, I'm not.
If I lose the Trezor, then
I-
I use my Electrum client on the computer and lose the bitcoins.
Yeah, that's the way that's obvious. But you know,
Save the coins with the computer, not with another.
yeah. We were thinking about also importing the whole seed, but I think it's abandoned in for the sake of security. Have I seen some hands over there? Okay, so that's all, and oh, maybe the last one. It is available. I have two of them here for sale, and we have a e-shop running on our website where you can order more. And the thing is, we made a quite small batch of them, around 20, and they are mostly gone for these developers. And now we are trying to gather orders. So once we have like 50 of them, we can make another batch. So it's not like we have to wait for 500 or more. Yeah.
Maybe as a last final presentation, there's a follow-up workshop tomorrow about tokens, hardware tokens. So if anyone wants to discuss hardware tokens, tomorrow at 8 p.m. in Neue Square 102. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, let's go ahead. So it's 8 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, thank you. And if you have any more questions, if you have any more questions, then feel free to meet me here.